What are we doing? What's the vibe today? I just walked in.
I think she's the host. You're quiet. That's what you're doing right now. It's my show.
Wait, did you start?
Yeah, we'll cut that part.
Yeah, cut that part. I actually had a question, but yeah, run it. Let's go.
I feel like we're about to beef.
I know, facts.
Thank you for being here.
All day.
Please tell the people who you are, what you do, and what's going on.
My name's Rahul Sondhi. I'm in the fitness space, so I'm actually an online fitness coach. I've been in the fitness space for been certified for 10 years and been consistently doing it since. And what was the last question?
What's going on?
What's going on? Not much, man. Life is good. Life is blessed.
Good?
Yeah, man. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing.
I'm glad to hear that. Like, when you say life is good, life constantly is fluctuating up and down.
Yeah.
Up and down, up and down. So in order for life to be good currently, there's probably lots of struggles in the past, lots of highs, lots of lows. I'd love to learn a little bit about who you were in your younger years and maybe how that formed the person you became. Because how old were you when you started your own business?
When I started my own business, I think by the time I started my own, I think I was 19.
You were 19. So very young to start your own company.
19 in the fitness space.
19 in the fitness.
I was young and hustling at 16, 15.
I can imagine. So 19 in the fitness space, and you've been on a 10-year run, you just said.
Yeah.
So please break me down like who the person is that ends up starting a business that is successful at 19.
Ah, man, we're going deep right away.
Hit me.
I love it. That starts years ago, bro. It's like we can start with the upbringing, and then we can start, and then I'll kind of like trickle it without going too long. I guess it all starts back like, bro, we were brought up with like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like when I grew up, it's like a lot of people see the now. Like you'll see now who I am. And I get that a lot. It's like, oh, it must have been given to you, or it must have been not earned, or XYZ. And it's like, nah, man. Growing up, we came from nothing. You know, when I say my dad came with $20 in his pocket and immigrated here from India, it's like, that's what he came with.
Yeah.
And he helped us so much. My mom and my dad gave us the opportunity we have today, but it's like, my family literally came from absolutely nothing.
When he immigrated, were you already born?
No.
Okay.
No. My parents are arranged marriage. Okay, so my parents got an arranged marriage. My mom was actually in Canada. She did high school here, but my dad was back in India. So they were arranged through family. They met the day of their wedding. Yeah, they met the day of their wedding. Like they had seen each other. My mom flew back to India and like got to see my dad, I think once. And then they basically actually like met the day of their marriage. Wow. And like they've been happily married for almost 30 years or 30 plus now. And so we say like nowadays divorce rate's so high.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like back then when you used to do arranged marriages, it's like divorce rates used to be completely low.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe those are just much happier marriages than nowadays, just because what society has us. But let's not get off track. Let's not
Welcome to marriage counseling 101.
But yeah, man. So like I said, my parents arranged marriage. Dad immigrated here. Mom immigrated here.
Yeah.
Dad came with nothing, had no job, had nothing. Yeah. And then growing up, man, it was like, I remember one particular line was my parents always taught me, they're like, money doesn't grow on trees. Anytime I wanted something, anytime I asked for something, it was money doesn't grow on trees. It wasn't easy to get something. You have to earn it. Everything, it was like the concept of having something and wanting something was you have to earn it to get it. It's not just here, something's given to you on a silver platter. So age 16, man, I got my first job. I remember my parents like, go apply for jobs. A couple days after my birthday, applied at Winners, got my first job. you know, and it was a grind since. And then like when I was 17, got a second job.
Yeah.
And I was remembering like every time I had 2 incomes plus full-time school.
Wow.
That's just how my life was. You know what I mean? I'd always have 2 jobs plus full-time school.
Yeah.
Because my parents always taught me you have to work hard if you want something.
Yeah.
You got to work hard when you want something.
Yeah.
Along then, I'd always try other things. Try things on the side. I started with buying and selling these iPhones. Like that was like my first hustle. You know what I mean? Buying, selling iPhones. Then I had like a lawn mowing business. Then I had this, that. I was always trying things just to try.
What made you want to try things? Like was your father or mother entrepreneurial and put that seed in you? Or like where did that desire to like not just like be like, oh, I'm at Winners, I'm making a check and like there we go. Like what made you push further and look for something to try?
Man, I wanted to make change.
Like money change or like change in the world?
Both. Like both, right? When you grow up and you don't have something, right?
Yeah.
Like I grew up and I had anything I wanted, like I said, had to be earned. If I wanted new clothes, bro, it was my older brother's hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Like it was like, nah, we can't really do this right now. Yeah. It wasn't often I'd get brand new things. You know what I mean? I'd get my older brother's hand-me-downs and this and that. So I was like, I want to change in my life.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to show other people, yo, this is possible.
Yeah.
And I also just wanted to make a difference. You know what I mean? Like knowing how it is to grow up like this. And then after, just make a difference for my family.
Yeah.
Like making sure that my family and my future family never has to go through what me and my family did growing up. You know what I mean? Like that's the cards that were dealt to my parents. And they made it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They made it work. My parents are happy. They're successful. They made a change, you know? And they showed us. My parents gave me opportunity, bro.
Yeah.
That's what they gave me. They gave me opportunity. Opportunity that many don't have. My dad's always probably wanted to be an entrepreneur. Wanted to be a chartered accountant, this and that, but couldn't. Had kids right away.
Yeah.
Had to put food on the table. And so I was like, my parents, both my mom and dad, provided me opportunity.
Yeah.
I have to do something with it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not everybody can take that opportunity and take that risk to be an entrepreneur. You've done it. But you were dealt the cards to also do it.
Do you think growing up in that upbringing actually prepared you the best it could for the entrepreneurial journey that you undertook at 19?
I wouldn't change a thing. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't change a thing only because that's the cards that were dealt with me, to me. It's brought me to where I am today. You know what I mean?
Do you think like if you grew up in an environment where everything was given to you, you would still start a business at 19? Or do you think like that is literally a core differentiator?
I think that's a core differentiator, personally myself.
Yeah.
I just think when everything is given to you, you lose the value of things, right? It's like one thing that I tell other people and like the way I was raised and like when I'm where I want to be, wherever that is, right? It's like I will never give my future kids everything on a silver platter. They need to learn the value. They need to know what hard work is. They need to work ethic is, right? Like they need to understand that. No matter having everything, I will not provide that to my kids.
Yeah.
I still want them to learn like the work ethic, the discipline, and etc. So it's like if I was given everything, I think I would lose that concept.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I don't think I'd be where I am in business today and in the amount of lives I've changed today if I didn't have that core value.
I think kids learn a lot based on watching their parents, maybe even more so than what their parents say. Is there anything you took from your parents by just watching them that has stuck with you forever? Like they never even mentioned the lesson. It was solely off of maybe repetition of seeing something constantly between them that has impacted you and made you part of who you are today.
Love. Like love. I think my parents have genuine love between humans, human to human, between one another. And seeing my parents grow up, of course, naturally they're going to have arguments. They're human. You know what I mean? It's going to be ups, there's going to be downs and all that.
Yeah.
But growing up in a family where there's genuine love,
Yeah.
I have tattooed on my chest, mother's love, father's pride. I grew up with both my parents' love. My father and my mother both showed me love.
Yeah.
Unconditionally. But you know what? I think I always had my mom's like, she was always the carer, the nurturer, and etc.
Yeah.
My dad really helped push us to everything we have, along with my mom supporting him right by his side.
Yeah.
So seeing that true love through thick and thin, you can get through anything. And watching that as a kid from 0 to now being 28, that's taught me so much because I carry that forward in my journey, in my personal, in my business.
Yeah.
When I speak to people,
Yep.
I carry love through everything I say, everything I give, everything I do. It's all held with love.
Before you became a personal trainer, I would imagine you have some sort of moment in your life where fitness somehow impacts you and changes your life. And then that would lead to you wanting to give that feeling to other people and maybe jump into that. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%.
I'd love to hear the story then of your fitness experience that really changed your life and then how that led into the business.
Yeah, it goes two ways. I'll start with the main one because I think that was the game changer for me to becoming a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So a little over 12 years ago now, about 13 years ago, my dad ended up in a hospital bed. And so I remember there was a day my dad was shoveling outside and he came in and he told my mom, and I was like, my mom's like, can you go outside and shovel the rest? I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, is everything okay? Dad's like, your dad's having chest pain. Carried through the day, anything you'd do, any sort of something physical, pick something up, anything, he'd have chest pain. And then my parents, the next day, that was a weekend, the next day they're like, hey, we're going to the doctor, get your dad checked. Thankfully, they took it seriously. Doctors took it seriously. Ran him through tests on tests on tests. Found out that his main arteries were blocked 99%, 75%, and 65%. Wow. He was a walking time bomb. I was about 16 at the time, 15, 16. My dad's 44. He's young. Put him in emergency surgery. Put 3 stents in his main arteries. And I just remember looking at my dad. My dad didn't take care of his health at that time. He was overweight. He just put whatever in his mouth, food-wise, didn't exercise, didn't do anything. And I remember just looking at him. I'm like, yo, you shouldn't be here. And I shouldn't be here with you at 15, 16, seeing my dad in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
We should all be better. Do you get what I'm saying? This is not genetics. This is
Behavior.
pure behavior. I remember then he got out. He's like, okay, I need to make a change. And that's when he went the route of getting on a fitness plan, getting on a better nutrition plan, etc. Man lost 40 pounds, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, he changed. He got skinny. He took it seriously. You know what I mean? Mom got on a more health kick. Mom's always been, knock on wood, healthy and whatnot. But it was seeing that. But I genuinely wanted to be the person to help. I wanted to be that guy to help my dad through it. I wanted to be able to make the change for both mom and dad. But I wasn't educated enough. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to help them. I was in the gym, but I didn't know how to help them.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, you know what? Number one, nobody in this world should ever have to go through what me and my family did. Yeah. Nobody. No human should be in a hospital bed at age 44. On top of that, no kid should see their parent in a hospital bed at age 44. They're younger than that, right? So that was the big why.
Wow.
Why I wanted to make change. Why I got into health and fitness was that. Growing up, bro, I was a skinny kid, man. I was a skinny kid. I was 80 pounds, grade 11.
Wow.
80 pounds, grade 11, skin and bone. Got bullied growing up. Was a bully growing up still. Had the bit of both. That's pure honesty. You know what I mean? Got bullied, was a bully. And it was it was, got pushed around, got skinny a lot, right? I'm not saying I'm a big guy or anything, but I came a long way. I've doubled my weight.
Yeah.
I've changed my body. I've changed my whole body composition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I just know that feeling of like being underweight is that exact same feeling as being overweight. You know what I mean? You're just not happy in your body and your skin and etc. And so it was like, that was a big part of like the personal journey of like, I don't want people to go through that body dysmorphia of hating who they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
Hating what they look at every time, avoiding mirrors.
Yeah.
Hating their clothes, hating XYZ. So it's that whole, like I said, it's two stories. But like the real driving impact is not truly my personal, is truly like, I want to make sure that nobody sees anybody in a hospital bed. Yeah. My message is like, stop waiting until you're in a hospital bed before you start your health and fitness journey.
It's similar to how most people experience a midlife crisis, right?
Yeah.
And that's maybe an example of one, but most people, you just kind of hit that middle of your life and you're like, oh my God, I'm halfway to the end and this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I similar people like me and you, whenever I talk to people that are young and hustling and crushing it, I think one thing that a lot of them have in common is a really good relationship with time, right? I've always said, I don't need a midlife crisis to change my life. I don't need something to come and scare the shit out of me for me to be like, oh my God, I need to make a change. I'm not going to waste time waiting for that. I'm going to start it now and almost imagine, you know, a crisis has already occurred.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I'm behind all the time. And I have that relationship with time where it's like, I really understand it ticks away. Every second it ticks away, you never get that back. And that's also why I think it's beautiful to enjoy the journey so that you're living those seconds intentionally while also working towards something intentionally. But yeah, that's such a beautiful story. And I'm curious, like, obviously that led to you starting your fitness company. There's a lot of people that consume our content that either want to start their own thing or are just in the process of starting their own thing. And I think you sharing your story of like that first client or the first like kind of thing you did that was like meaningful to the beginning of your company and like maybe what got you over that, like whatever story is there, I think could really help a lot of people that are in that similar spot in life.
Interesting. I think it goes back to, I want to change. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely want to change in my life and for my future life and to showcase, like you're saying, to other people that anybody can do it. You know, anybody can take that leap to make that change. And so I remember when I first started as a personal trainer, I never wanted to work for a big box gym. Never wanted to work for like Good Life, Movati, all these.
We're going to blank all those out. Okay.
I was like, do I say it? Do I not? You know? I was like, never wanted to work for a big box gym.
Yeah.
Okay. Put it that way. Just wasn't aligned with more so selling people to start their fitness journey. It was more so genuinely helping people.
Yeah.
That was always something that I was truly aligned with. And so when I started, I was like, okay, how do I just genuinely work with people to help them? So I started at, I was working at a front desk at a little recreation center. They had a gym, and I remember that was my part-time job while I was in school. And my manager looks at me, it's like, hey, can you take a few clients? Personal training's not popular here, but sometimes we get requests. I know you're certified. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Got my feet a little wet, you know? Figured out how to train people, more hands-on. Yeah, I'm certified, but getting real life experience is always the best. And I was like, you know what? I want to do things differently. After having a few clients and learning and etc., I was like, I want to do things a little differently. And I remember this day so clearly. I was like, hey, I want to do mobile personal training. I want to go to people's houses, condos, apartments, train people at the convenience of their own home. I was 18, 19. It's like, I can't open up a gym. Not I can't, but it's, you know, it just wasn't the perfect card being dealt to me. I was like, Kate, not opening up a gym. Let's do something a little more unique. Let's do mobile personal training. I remember I was with one of my friends and We're in my backyard. He's like, let's open you up a business. He's like, what do you want to call it? I have no idea. I was like, I have no clue, you know? We're just going through, and I'm like, Performance Fitness Canada. That's going to be the name. He's like, what if you want to go worldwide? I was like, I'll figure it out then. It's Performance Fitness Canada. That's the name. So, all right. We signed it up. We did this and that, you know? I was like, hey, Mom and Dad, I have a business. They laughed. They laughed. And then it was like, okay. And I was like, hey, how do I start? Like, what do I do?
Yeah,
you know, just, I think once you're in it, you just start slowly figuring it out. I remember I posted an ad on Kijiji.
Yeah.
Posted my first ad on Kijiji. Got an outreach. And I was like, oh, this is free marketing. And I was like, okay, cool. Start getting 1 client, 2 clients, 3 clients. Okay, I need to ramp this up. Who do I see? The man himself. I think you were starting your agency.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. So it was around the same time. And I was like, I need to invest into something. I need help. You know what I mean? I was like, so I messaged you. I don't think you answered right away.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think you answered right away. I was like, oh, okay. So how do I get this guy's attention? And I remember I was like, we had a mutual friend, and I messaged, and she's like, yeah, I'll message him to get back to you. I was like, okay, perfect. She messaged you, and then after you messaged me back, I was like, perfect. Set up coffee, set up a shoot at my parents' place at the time.
I'll never forget that coffee though, because I think what I really enjoyed about that coffee is I actually loved your energy.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a very genuine energy about yourself. And I could also tell you were taking your business very seriously. Like, it wasn't like you sat down and you're like, all right, cool, I want to do marketing. How can we do it? It was like, okay, so like, what do you know about marketing? Are you sure you can help me? Oh, that's the price? No, that's not the price. We're going to have to come down on the price. And like, it was a whole, I remember you were like stern, but like genuine. It was a very interesting dichotomy. But I think that that's something that is like very amazing about you, is you have that kind of like protective, like, you know, street smartness about you, but you're also like a very nice person. And I'll never forget that like initial meetings. Remember I left that and I was like, I like that guy.
I appreciate that. You've never shared that. So we've been friends for a long time. So yeah, man, it's I think everything's negotiable. So I'll always throw something.
And then what did we do? We shot some ads.
Yeah, we shot some ads, man. And you know what's funny? I literally ran through. I saw the video like a week ago of our first ad, and I was like, I've come a long way behind camera.
Oh, can we tell that story?
Yeah, tell it. You tell it. You share it. You're a better storyteller.
So we'll get into like your marketing journey now. Yeah. But yeah, I'd worked with some people who had to talk on camera. Real talk, I'd never worked with somebody who struggled as hard as you, bro. We got to the point where we were shooting ads with Rahul, and we would have to take it half a sentence at a time. He'd have to say 4 words, and then we'd pause, and then he'd say the next 4 words. Then we'd pause, say the next 4 words. Bad. Then we pause. Holy shit! But
it was bad. It was bad, bro. Like, I remember that. I was so nervous. I'm like tweaking behind camera, bro. I'm like shaking. And mind you, I have like 4 or 5 of you guys watching me. My cousin's the videographer. Yeah. You're there. Yeah. My parents are there. Yeah. And like some of the boys are there. It's like, it was so uncomfortable. And I was like, I rewatched that video. It's just coincidence that we're here. Yeah. It was like a week ago. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I've come a long way behind camera. I've come a long way behind camera. And mind you, bro, you'd be surprised. And maybe whoever sees this I'm still uncomfortable behind camera.
Really?
Till this day, this doesn't bother me as much because we're having a conversation. Yeah. But even when I'm shooting my like reels and shorts, and I've produced over 1,500 videos.
That's what I was about to say. Can we unpack this? Like, and let's make this a perfect clip where it's like, you've made over 1,500 short form videos on social media, and you're still nervous on camera. I think a lot of people struggle with confidence in different ways, or nerves around things like being on camera. How do you overcome that?
The answer I want to say is repetition. But someone doing it 1,500 times and still telling you repetition is the way, it genuinely is, because it's like, I've done it 1,500 times and I'm still nervous behind camera.
Wow.
Still. Doesn't change. But what does change is I understand that doing this and making myself uncomfortable to one day be comfortable.
Yeah.
And the impact that this video can make to one person in this world is such a beautiful thing. And knowing that the outcome of me being freaking uncomfortable behind camera and me producing whatever the video is, even if it creates change in one person's life through that production, it's all worth it in the end. And so I think just seeing the long game of it and like, how do you overcome it is, I'll tell you, keep doing it. Keep putting in the reps. Keep putting in the reps. It will get better, because it will. Nerves have calmed. But seeing like your why on why you're actually producing it. Is it for shits and giggles? Or is it like, hey, trying to build a business, trying to build impact, trying to do X, Y, Z? Like, what are you trying to do with this? And reminding yourself of that is going to motivate you a lot more. Possibly calm your nerves down a little bit, but more so like just motivate you to actually end up doing it and getting behind camera and producing a sick show or sick video or whatever it is.
So for people who may not know, what is your current business? Because I know your fitness business has gone through different evolutions.
Oh man.
What is the current setup of the products you offer to people?
So current setup is we have two aspects mainly. So we actually still do mobile personal training here in Ottawa. So we still go to people's houses, condos, apartments, and we train people at the convenience of their own home. A lot of our market is people who have home gyms, people who have zero equipment because we provide everything to them, and people who live in condo buildings that have access to a gym but want access to a personal trainer and don't want to go to a big box gym, let's say, because they have one in their condo building. So we provide that service. We're a team of trainers that do that. And then we do online coaching. So we coach people from all around the world. You don't have to be from Ottawa. Most of our business is actually in the US. Most of our clients are in the US, and we help them on their health and fitness journey. So we provide them personalized workout programs, all in a progressive manner. We provide them personalized nutrition plans, and we hold them accountable to their journey and make sure that they get the best results possible. We guarantee all of our clients' results. It's a guarantee. That's what we serve on. Everything we do is backed by science. And so everything's guaranteed to work. And we make sure that they follow it. And we have an amazing, amazing community behind all of it too. So we have a thriving community that all of our clients are in, that push each other, that motivate each other, that celebrate wins, do challenges, and etc.
In an online fitness space, it's so competitive and so hard to differentiate because there's no physical component to it that can be a massive differentiator. How do you differentiate yourself? Like when you look at your customers, what is kind of the commonalities of those customers and why they choose to work with you over other options for online fitness?
I think the biggest differentiator between us and anyone else is, one, we're not just selling fitness. We provide people a complete lifestyle change. And when I say lifestyle, I'm not only talking about like health, fitness. We help change your mindset. We help change your view towards life. We help change your entire life. The amount of clients that I've looked at me and the rest of our team and said, hey, you've given me a brand new life at 50. At 50 years old, we've been able to provide them a brand new life. Those words, no money can buy. No money can buy those words. That's life-changing. Our accountability system is impeccable. We do something that nobody else does. So it's something I personally do. And that's like, I hold each and every one of our clients accountable through like voice notes. So we do like morning motivation voice notes every single morning. Every single one of our clients gets a personalized voice note every single morning, whether it's motivation from me personally. From me personally.
Now I see why you get up at 5 a.m.
They get a morning motivation voice note, whether it's going through the day before, making sure that they didn't screw up, or if they made small mistakes, what they need to do to correct. So they don't have to wait a week to check in with their coach or 2 weeks to check in with their coach to figure out what they did right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's like they get daily service. They get daily motivation, daily accountability, making sure that they're on top of their programs.
How do you create daily motivational voice notes for people when on a day where you may wake up and not feel great? And like muster up the motivation to send that energy to someone else when you may not even have it internally. Yeah. How do you do that?
I remember why I'm doing this. I genuinely just look at, why am I doing this? Why did I get in this? Why am I making why do I want to help somebody? And I think back to like, I'm doing this all to make a change in people's lives. And I tell you, I genuinely wholeheartedly believe that my purpose on this earth is to make real change in people's lives, whether it's through this conversation, whether it's through a video I make, whether it's through helping someone with health and fitness, whether it's going for coffee with somebody, whatever it is. I genuinely believe wholeheartedly that my purpose on being on this earth is to make real change in people's lives one way or another. And so a day that I wake up feeling like shit, or I don't want to do anything, I look back and I'm like, why are you doing this? What is this going to do for this person? Is this going to create real change for them? And I just remember that. I just think about that. That gets me going. That fuels me.
That's beautiful. I think something that's very fascinating is that daily motivational voice notes is a huge factor in the success of their physical fitness journey. And so I would imagine mindset is a massive deterrent as to why people cannot accomplish their fitness goals. What is the number one mindset shift that you see you having to make in your fitness clients?
Knowing that they can do it. I think so many people have limiting beliefs on being able to achieve the end result because of the way they were brought up, what other people around them have told them, or the story they've told themselves. And so they get so caught up in these misbeliefs that they've told themselves over all these years, and it's this fallacy story that they've made up for themselves. And they believe it so hard that they feel like they can't even do it. So just showing someone this perfect roadmap of like, hey, one, this is every single step of the journey so you understand it. But two, knowing that me or your head coach, whoever it is right by your side every single step of the way, painting this picture with you. And I'm not just throwing you in the deep end saying, go figure out how to swim. I'm taking you from shallow to deep, and I'm going to teach you every step of the way. And I'm going to make sure that you get there no matter what.
Having a clear roadmap to get to that end goal, is that more important than having the motivation to keep going? Like, would you rather have motivation but not be able to see the map, or see the map but really struggle to be motivated? I'm super curious because I'm basically, it's logic or emotion. What's more important to have?
That's tough. I think they both play their role, but just for the purpose of the question, you caught me.
You need both?
Motivation plays a huge role on continuing to show up every single day. And so I think motivation is huge. So I'd actually go with that, just because I could be motivated every single day and knowing no matter whether I fail or not, I'll still be motivated to keep going. Yeah. Because my journey myself, I never had a clear roadmap.
Powerful.
So just putting it back into perspective with myself, I never had a clear roadmap.
Yeah.
I still don't have a clear roadmap.
Yeah.
I have a vision for my life.
Yeah.
Things can change at any point. But knowing that my motivation is continuously propelling me to continue to progress in my life and continue to push push forward no matter what comes in my way. That motivation is so key. And so to answer your question, I'd say motivation all day, just because there's no such thing as a perfect roadmap. There's no such.
But you provide one. You do provide one.
We provide one to your health and fitness journey. But you know what? Life comes up, things happen, right?
Of course.
Inevitable. But we provide the perfect roadmap.
So switching gears a little bit, you've had, just like business evolutions, you've had marketing evolutions. So after 10 years of trying different ways to market yourself, market your business, different businesses, what is the number one marketing piece of advice you would give for someone who's in the fitness space?
The fitness space is the most saturated space there is. I want to say that's almost a fact. Didn't do research behind it, so I can't. But if you're in the fitness space, one thing I'd tell you is be you. Nobody can be the raw, authentic you like anyone else. And what I mean by that is nobody's better than being you than you. It's very plain and simple. The one thing people buy, or the one thing people want, is a genuine, raw, authentic coach. And we can all sell the same plans, the same nutrition plans, the same XYZ. But at the end of the day, nobody could be me. And so if I was to give anybody in the fitness space, new in the fitness space for a while, left and wants to come back, just be you. That's it. It's like if you learn to be you, people will love that so much more and want to purchase that so much more and will want to work with you so much more than knowing it's fake, it's a facade, or XYZ. Does that make sense?
100%. And so it's when you get on camera, maybe something that you've never seen before, because I think a lot of us see things and then we take the bits and pieces that we like and kind of create ourselves. But maybe going on camera and just doing something that is so you, that you've maybe never seen before, or the way you interact with a client is not the typical sales script.
Yeah.
Are there any specific nuances about yourself that make you really competitive in the fitness space of growing the business?
What do you mean? Can you elaborate?
So for me, I find that when I'm with people, as soon as I interact with them, I really calm them down. I'm able to really relax them and make them feel close very quickly. And I find that's something that allows me to close out a business because people trust me so fast based off of that. So I'm curious about, since it's such a personal thing that, no one can be you, are there any aspects of you that you think is a real competitive advantage in the business space?
Very similar to what you said. I think the easiest one that came to my head right away was trust. Every time I'm on a phone call with somebody, anytime, the way I can relate to somebody, no matter who I'm working with, one, they approach me for a reason because they probably already resonate with me based off what they see online, what they've heard, referral, etc.
Yeah.
They've probably already related to a certain degree. When I'm on a phone call, it's so easy for me to resonate with somebody because I've gone through so much in my life, gone through so much, that it's so easy for me to resonate with somebody one way or another to build trust and rapport. And I ask a lot of people, whether it's just through a conversation or whether they want to work with me on a health and fitness journey. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Because I've been curious. The way certain people open up is things they've never shared with anybody. I've asked them, why are you telling me this? You just talking to me for the first time.
Yeah.
Something about you just lets me trust you is what they say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. And I was like, this is between me and you. I'll do everything in my power to help you. But that's nuance-wise, I'd say it's just trust. And knowing that, hey, I'm with you every single step of the way. And that's it.
one of the things I think is really special about your business is you do change people's lives for real. Please share a story. You don't have to name names. Please share a story that hit you so hard of one of your clients that you changed their lives. And please share what that experience was like for you.
There's so many. There's genuinely so many. And I have one that always hits for me, that hits home. And after we can, you can share your story of how I changed your life. Teasing, sorry.
There goes all the fans.
I apologize. All right. No, but genuinely, this was when I was doing this was years ago, and I was training one of my close friends' mothers, and she had a really large weight loss journey to achieve. She had gone through a lot in her life, and throughout the process, throughout the journey, she shared a lot with me, a lot of her ups and downs, a lot of her struggles, losing her parents at a young age, one of her parents at a young age, and just having kids at a young age, and just immigrating to Canada. And she's gone through a lot in her life. And over the 6-month process of losing about 60 plus pounds, it was incredible, because she used to not be able to get onto the ground. She used to not be able to sit on the ground without knowing that she couldn't get back up. She used to not be able to go up and down the stairs without being in incredible pain. Mind you, she was 40 or younger at the time. So it was like 38, 39, 40 years old. She was very young. Just seeing that. And then throughout the process, throughout like 6 months of just consistently being by her side, consistently showing up for her where she needed it, losing over 60 pounds in that 6-month period. And like I said earlier, when someone looks at you and says, "You gave me a brand new life," she was one of the people who have told me, "You've given me a brand new life." And I remember when she looked at me and she said that, because I had seen her in person that day, and she had told me that, I had like tears in my eyes. And that was a big reminder of like, this is why you do what you do. And like I said, no money can buy those words. There's no money that can buy impact. It's not about that. It's about the real change that I genuinely get to make in people's lives. Me and my whole team. Like, we get to make this real change. That's change. That's impact. What do we live for? We don't live for all the luxuries and this and that. Yeah, that's great to have. It's great. I love that stuff. I love it. But man, like, when you have a purpose in life, that's wild. That's true happiness. And when you're driving towards your purpose every single day and you're working towards it, bro, I'm on cloud 9, man. I'm on cloud 9. When someone tells you gave them a brand new life at age 40, 50, you have multiple people tell you that, and you're constantly just helping people.
What does that feel like? Tell the people what that feels like, because not everyone's experienced something that impactful. What does that do to you?
That's a high of its own. I don't take drugs. I don't do drugs, but that's a high of its own, man.
What does it feel like?
Man, it's like I'm speechless, but it's like genuinely like speechless. It's like, it's a feeling inside of you that even I'm getting right now, and it's like butterflies in your stomach, bro. It's like it's so tough to explain, but it's pure joy and happiness. That's the easiest way to put it.
You feel like you can run forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I find something so interesting. Like, a lot of people imagine that you're given energy through sleeping, through eating, and through, restorative actions. But I think through people and having great conversations or making an impact with someone, you can literally be given energy. And I think like potentially a way that you describe that is like, you feel like you could now run through a wall. Like you could literally be working for 12 hours, have that conversation with her, and feel like you could go run a marathon after it.
Absolutely. It's that feeling of being like unstoppable.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's like nothing can stop me, nothing can get in my way, and nothing can phase me.
Yeah.
Nothing can phase me.
Yeah. Speaking of nothing can phase you, COVID hit everyone different. You had a mobile training business at the time. You still have it, but that was the core business at the time.
Yeah.
And I know you had to shut down. How did you deal with that? How did you go through that? How did you come out stronger? Tell me that story.
That was tough because I worked for years trying to build up a mobile personal training business. So I have a love-hate relationship with school, but I finished school. After finishing school, I took my business on full time. And so I had about 2.5 years of taking my business on full time, give or take. And then this pandemic hits out of nowhere. And we were mobile. We were going to people's houses, condos, apartments, right? We were mobile. And I remember just clients just started, hey, it's a state of emergency or whatever. Like, you can't come, you can't come, you can't come. I was like, okay. I went from being a full roster of working almost probably like 50 hours a week, if not more, to literally being down to 0 clients.
Zero. You had no one.
Nobody.
No psychos that were just like,
I had one where I shut down for a bit and then she,
Yeah.
But no, like I remember I was down to 0.
Wow.
And you go from like
50-hour weeks to 0. In like
at the blink of an eye. And it's, what do you do? I watch people who are in the same industry as me, who own gyms, opening, closing. You're watching other people, are they pivoting? Other people are getting full-time jobs. It's like, I know for me, like working a 9 to 5 just is not in my cards. Like, it's like, I don't foresee it and I'm not letting that ever be an option for me. So it's like, I knew I needed to pivot. And I always wanted to try the online space, but I had no idea where to start. Literally no clue. It was like, okay, you're going to figure it out. So I did my first ever investment into a mentor, trying to learn the ways. And I was like, okay, we're going all in online because this is all I have. And I remember I was like, save some money, used to spend a lot, was living at home, had no real life obligations, right? And so I was like, hey, let's use some of your savings and let's invest. And I invested in a mentor and I was like, I am going all in on this. I'm not looking left or right. I'm just going to listen.
Yeah.
There's no questions that need to be asked, and invested in a mentor, learned the online space because I didn't want to take another 3, 4, 5 years to relearn a business on my own. I wanted to pay for speed. That's like the biggest thing. I think a lot of people, like, they have that gap of paying for speed. And it's like, you have to understand, if someone's done it and they've been successful at it, and you're going to go through a learning curve of 5 years to get to where that person did. And if you're lucky, maybe less. It's going to take you years. But if you can invest, save the time, and you'll end up making more or whatever, you're paying for speed. That concept to me always stuck.
Yeah.
That's something I always did. So that's exactly it. That was my first time ever investing.
Yeah.
It was the best thing I ever did. The best thing I ever did. Taught me so much.
Yeah.
Learned. Now we've been 3 years online.
Wow.
Been able to impact so many people.
Yeah.
Like probably over 1,000 now over the years of being in the personal training space. Wow. Over 1,000 now. But it's like we've worked with hundreds over the 3 years. Hundreds of people from all over the world. I never would have even thought about doing that. I was thinking I'm an Ottawa-based company. I'm going to be in Ottawa my whole life. Knowing that I don't even want to live in Ottawa like for the rest of my life.
Why are you still here?
Good question. Good question. I think there's other external factors that have me staying here for a period of time.
Yeah.
But I definitely foresee myself not being here for too many more years.
So I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
And you were actually my personal trainer for, I feel like, a number of years. And we've seen each other go through ups and downs mentally, through business, through personal. I'm super curious, over the years, what has been one of the personal changes that you've made that changed your life drastically?
It's not going to be the answer that everybody wants to hear, but it's the truth. Loving myself. That's the truth. And that's what changed my life. It might not be that whole crazy answer, anything like that, but I used to be somebody who was out every single day. I was out all the time. I was always hanging out with friends. I didn't know how to be alone. Didn't know how to spend time with myself, genuinely. And apart when COVID hit, it was like, you gotta stay home. You gotta learn to be alone. And I know there was a lot of people who went through a lot during COVID, and I did too. But it was its own blessing in disguise for me. And throughout that time period, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what I like, what I dislike, what makes me uncomfortable, what makes me happy was huge. What does true happiness really look like?
Yeah.
And knowing that, like, I truly didn't love the person I was, and I never took time to realize that because I was always just so quote unquote busy doing pointless things. Anytime I had time to breathe outside of work, I'd be with friends, sometimes with family, and just be out and about doing something.
Yeah.
And so there was times I was partying a lot, spending a shit ton of money on bottles, drinking every weekend, doing this, that. And it's like, I remember that time and it was fun, it was cool, whatever, but I wasn't truly happy. And so when COVID hit, it's like you stop everything. It's like, this is your reality. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Make or break.
Yeah.
It's like I genuinely took the time to learn about me, learn what I love, what I don't love, who I am, what makes me happy. And I can like proudly say, like, I love everything about myself now.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I think a lot of people, when you say that, they're going to resonate with it. And just a quick side note, I remember I talked to somebody right at the beginning of COVID, and I was like, I'm doing fine because I love being alone. I love like the balance. I love sometimes with people, but I need my alone time. I love to sit and just think.
Yeah.
Think about all different types of things, but I love to be alone and just think. And I remember I explained this to someone who's wildly social, and verbatim, they said this, and I couldn't believe it because I could never even imagine it feeling this way. But they were like, oh my God, I would be so afraid of what I'd think of. Wow. Like, and I was like, I still kind of don't even understand what that means because I could never imagine. But I was like, wow. Like, I don't even know how to even process that. And so it's interesting that you said you were so social and da-da-da, and then COVID kind of slowed you down and created space. So where I'm going with this, though, is you say loving yourself, and now you're genuinely happy with yourself and all this stuff. What is the actual mechanics behind, asking the right questions and finding these answers to actually become more happy with yourself? Is it something you do in the mornings? Is it like, what are actual like takeaways that people can start to do to go on a journey that you've gone on?
I don't know every step that I did. I can't think back least not right now, of every step I did in order to get to where that end result was.
Yeah.
But one thing I do know was, in one action step for anybody watching this, is what is true happiness to you? What does that mean? Because happiness to you, Hayden, will be completely different to what it is to me. Could be the same.
Yeah.
But happiness to every single individual is different. And what that means to you as an individual, and finding out what that truly means to you, is really important. Because to me, it means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, happiness is not defined solely by success. For me, success is a part of it. We can say financials is definitely a part of it, but it's not the defining factor of happiness. They are factors within my definition.
Yeah.
But true love, true care, having good people around me, having people like you in my life, having good friends around me, having an amazing family, like all those things equate to the definition of like what happiness truly is.
Do you think you can sit down and think and start to map out what happiness is to you? Or is there a level of, you got to make it conscious, and then you almost have to like keep track of yourself as you go through life and like look out for like, oh, that made me happy, or this made me happy. Like, how would you advise someone to start finding their quote unquote happiness?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's like you can roadmap to things like, hey, at times of my life, like this is when I was at my highs and this is when I was at my lows. And this is like when I was the happiest and I found myself thriving. These were the things I was doing. But then making like conscious behaviors of, as you're going through life and as you're progressing, it's like, you know what? Being around these people, they are pure negativity. I don't want that energy around me. And making that change, I made so many changes in my life, man. Like so many.
What's the biggest one?
What's the biggest change?
Or what's a meaningful one?
Being present. That's a meaningful one. And that's a goal I strive to work towards every single day.
Yeah.
Because we're so caught up with society, like with social media, this, that. You can be having a conversation with somebody. This conversation right now, that's meaningful. Because we don't have our phones. We're not taking out our phones mid-conversation. We're not being distracted with the person to the left or right of us, and etc. It is so difficult nowadays to have a conversation without someone interrupting with their phone or whatever around them. Solely being present in everything I do and intentional with every conversation I have and intention with every interaction I have. I think that's been like a game changer for me. Because I'm someone I can get distracted very quickly. Very quickly. And so just working on consistently being present, that's been one big change that I've worked towards in the last 2 years, especially. Of like every interaction, every conversation, just be present.
What's an aspect of your life that you're currently working on? I know you're working on all different aspects, but what is an aspect of your life that it is like now currently is a big focus and you do want to make a big change there?
I know personal development's really broad, so I kind of want to divide that down a little bit. I'm a really good listener. I listen to people very well, and that's something I think is a really strong strength of mine. But a part of listening to others and hearing them, the other side of it is actioning what they are saying, right? Someone can listen to you and ask for advice. That's one thing. But when people are requesting you to communicate better, to do this better. And so being able to listen and action step the quote unquote maybe change or slight change to be a better version of yourself is something that I'm consistently working on. I think that's a big thing this year, is being able to be present, but also action any point in my life that I find there's a small little gap, to be 5% better every single day, to show up, whether that's with respect, whether that's with integrity, whether that's with love, no matter what it is, but working on being 5% better each and every day, and just asking myself the question of, how can I show up 5% better with being integral? How can I be 5% more integral today? How can I be 5% more loving today? How can I be 5% more respectful today? Whatever that is, but just working towards 5%. Not making black and white changes.
Yeah.
5%. That's it.
I want to pass the mic over to you.
Yeah.
Hit me with what you got.
Okay. You're somebody who's really, really connected. You connect very easily with others.
Yeah.
You have deep conversation with others.
Yeah.
And you're always just listening and trying to provide people a solution at the end of the conversation, which is a very good thing.
I'm working on that, actually. I don't always provide solutions
Okay.
anymore.
Okay. So what would be one of the most impactful conversations you've had with somebody that throughout the conversation, you gave them something, but throughout that same conversation, whatever you provided them, not whatever you provided them, but throughout that conversation, you also took something large away that also changed your life?
It's interesting. I really don't have anything that comes to mind. And the reason that is because I can't even think of one moment where one conversation has tipped me, like drastically tipped me through one thing. And I don't know if this is similar for everyone, but for me, it's very much seeing and hearing something multiple times then makes it really come to my conscious. And then I'm the type of person that really systemizes creating the solution. So like I'll have a reoccurring event in my calendar where I review how have I done with that. And like I really make sure that it's top of mind and I do not remove it out of my calendar until I believe it's now fixed. And if there's someone else involved, I'll check it. But for me, it's always been about hearing the message common, to then be like, okay, that is true. So for me, it can be like people that are in my life, like hearing certain things consistently, but more often than not, just because of the way my life is structured, it's through content of hearing the same message that starts to create core change in me or belief in certain values in me. And that's my truth, like to that question.
Okay. To tip off content a little bit, I've noticed a big shift in you in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But especially in 2024. I've known you for a long time. Long enough.
5 years.
5 years. Long enough. But I truly think that this year there was kind of a light bulb in you.
Yeah.
That switched.
Yep.
What is it? And what's changed?
Yeah, I think after 5 years, because my business has been around for 5 years too. So I've known you for 5 years, but I've also been kind of doing this for 5 years. And I think after 5 years, there's no debate as to like what has worked and what hasn't. And I think there's aspects of myself and my business that I love. And I'm like, those are great. Those are amazing. But over time, you start to see like, oh, like these aspects are truly flaws or truly holding me back. And so it becomes very, at least for a person like me, easy to make definitive action of like, we will no longer do this. We are going to make these changes because 5 years is enough data to be like, nah, this is the truth, you know? And so I think this year was a big year of like, you know, and it's funny how I operate once again in a realm of time of like, I'm 28, but the way I felt this year was like, yo, you do it now or you do it never. I'm 28. I'm young. I know it's funny, the micro macro of like, you know, being so like, oh my God, I have to change now, but also knowing I have like 60 more good years. And so, but that's what I felt like this year was like, no, you are making changes. You are having systems that are going to hold you accountable to change. It's going to be so in your face that if you do not change, it is a choice. It is not a fail of planning and systemizing to do it. It's because you gave up. And so for me, I think, yeah, that 5-year mark really felt like it's super clear what needs to change, and it's super clear what I love. And it's interesting. I was even telling my partner yesterday of like living life a little bit in the business world pre-COVID and post-COVID created two different realities for me to really see like what's great and what's not great in terms of growing a company, feeling good, all these different aspects, because I feel like I've lived two extremes. And so, for instance, one of the things I learned actually last time I was in Ottawa in this location is the power of creating physical connection, human connection. Like, and I've gone back to Toronto now, and I've started lining up meetings for every single week just to talk to people, just to make that genuine human connection, because A, it makes me really happy. B, it's a great opportunity to produce unique content. And C, when you build that depth with someone, you can tap into each other's networks with so much more trust of like, nah, I know this guy. And so that's just one example of like living in a isolated COVID life and then living in a, interactive life of realizing, no, that interaction, even though it takes time out of your day and takes effort to go there and takes effort to plan it, there's no way around it. Like it's a beautiful thing and it needs to be incorporated into my life. And so it's things like that become super crystal clear, super definitive. And after 5 years, I'm ready to make big changes where they need to be made.
What's the biggest change?
Balance. It's the balance of getting into the workday, being work mode, smashing it. And then when I'm out of work mode, having a 20 to 30 minute calibration period to then become literally like the relaxed version of me, the slower version of me, the calmer version of me, the gentle version of me, and really having the inhale and the exhale of the day, so that the next day when I wake up, I'm actually like ready to get into intense work mode because I'm like done chilling. Like, and really having that inhale exhale has become so important for me, because before I would just go 24/7, and things worked, but I didn't feel good. I didn't feel recharged. I didn't feel like I was living a holistic life. I didn't feel happy holistically. But once again, it's through experiencing, okay, then taking some more relaxed time and seeing how that feels. Because that balance isn't for everyone. That balance makes sense for me. Some people may need to go hard 5 days straight and then take the whole weekend off and like have a more extreme balance. Some people may need to chill most of the day and just do a bit of work. Like, everyone's different. And so finding that balance and really sticking true to it, because sometimes, the end of the day rolls around and you have a couple more opportunities in your inbox and you just want to run at them. But like knowing I need to reset, I need to rejuvenate, I need to recharge, because then I'll come back tomorrow with the same vigor I attacked today with, and I'll crush those opportunities tomorrow. And so that's been probably the biggest realization for me. And it takes time to find that. You can't just think of that balance. You have to feel it. You have to experience it.
Absolutely. And I think out of everything you said, there was so much value there. But for one thing for people to take away, what are some of the things you do to recalibrate? Because you mentioned recalibrating. And for someone like myself, it's hard for me to put off that on and off switch.
Yeah.
Unless I'm hosting or something. I work 14-hour days very easily. It's not tough for me. It's almost like a norm, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what's your on and off switch? And you mentioned like a 30 to 60 minute, let's say, recalibration period.
Yep. 20, 30 minutes.
What do you do?
So, and the recalibration happens when I'm ready to like, it's tough to say what I'll do in the physical, but essentially lower my heart rate and like keep it there and just relax. Like, it doesn't have to be I sit there and do nothing, but like it could be cooking or like something that's just like a relaxing activity. And what it always requires is typically 20 to 30 minutes of just sitting and doing nothing and breathing, not on my phone, not watching a show. And I'll typically do it with my partner. We'll just lie beside each other, have like a gentle conversation. And through that just exposure to relaxation for like 20 to 30 minutes undistracted, you naturally calibrate down. And then I really feel like ready to do just like the rest of my evening, let's say, in that relaxed state. So it could be going to the sauna, could be going into the hot tub, it could be cooking, could be playing a game of chess. It could even be just doing like light things around the house. It could be doing laundry. It could be, you know what I mean? but it's not like intensive thinking, strategizing, running as fast as I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. It's calming.
Yeah. And it's also a thing that I had to establish with my partner, because my work energy is not the energy I want in my relationship. My work energy is very fiery. It's very intense. It's very definitive. It's very decisive. It's very know this, go. And I don't want to come home with that energy. And it's not because like they request it necessarily. It's because that's not the relationship I want to have. I don't want to be in my relationship all intense, like running a company. Like I want to be in my relationship, like feeling like I'm exhaling, feeling like I'm experiencing the other side of life. And I like to have that balance. It really creates perfect harmony for me.
What was the biggest eye opener for you to create that balance?
I'm sorry to harp on it, but it really does come down to the calibration of like, I can't come home after a work day and just be that guy. Mm-hmm. I need kind of the grace of like turning the car off and letting the engine cool down, you know?
Yeah.
And I think just making sure my partner is aware of that and like on board to be that for me, because that could be, you know, something that, you know, they may not understand or like could cause friction of like, if I'm not even aware that I need to do that and they're not aware of like, why are you like coming home and like, you're like high strung, you know? And so just really creating that like space to be like it's calibration time, you know?
I want to pivot a little bit.
Okay. Rahul's pod, let's go.
Yeah. Now, we've had a lot of deep conversations over the years. We've talked about a lot, learned a lot about one another. But what drives you every day to be the Hayden you are today?
Yeah.
What's your big like why?
You beat me to it, which is interesting. So you don't know this, but I've done 2 episodes already, and this is how I end each podcast. So you just stole the show, basically. Is over the last 5-6 months, I've read a number of books, and only a couple of weeks ago, I realized they all have moments of commonality between them, and it's all around mission. It's all around why. So I read like Man's Search for Meaning, which is in the title. I read Patrick Bet-David, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. There's a whole chapter about mission. I read The Alchemist, which talks about personal legend all the way through it. And so I've realized that I'm really attracted to that topic. And when I read Patrick Bet-David's book, there's like a worksheet at the end of each chapter. So there's a worksheet on mission. And so I sit down and I start to do the worksheet. And when I tell you, I had no clue. And it blew my mind. It freaked me out. And it like, not alarm bells, but it was so blatantly clear. This is what's missing for me. Is clarity on my mission, clarity on my purpose, clarity on my why. And I've heard you mention multiple times, like that is the thing that like snaps you into shape whenever you need it. And so at the end of every pod, I've prefaced this story and then I've asked the guest, do you know your mission? If so, tell me that journey. If not, tell me that journey. And so to answer your question, you know, I know it has to do with helping others, like, so fulfilled. The selfish side of that is admiration. When someone gives me genuine compliments and I can tell it's because like they're referencing things I've specifically said, or they followed me for a while, messaged me for a while and send me that voice note that's like, you know, that extra layer of depth of like, thank you. That to me is like goosebumps. But beyond that, I really am unclear. And so I'm on a mission to find my mission. And so I throw it back to you. What advice would you give me?
I think everything we do in our adulthood life, and the person we are today stems from all of our upbringing. And I'm so tied to that because I guess I would say I've done a lot of deep work in myself to understand the things I like, the things I dislike. Why do I react and not react to specific things?
Yeah.
And it all comes to the way I was brought up. A lot of my upbringing, things I had, things I didn't have. Why do I love? Why do I hate? Why does this make me uncomfortable? And etc. And so when I tell you that, hey, I found a purpose in my life, I found that recently. I was like, I am meant to make change in people's lives. I knew that I loved helping and etc. Right? But when I told you earlier that, like, I wholeheartedly believe that I'm here to make change in people's lives, it's like That's my mission. Action step for you is root back. Like when you started marketing, when you started this, I remember a lot of it just because I felt like we became homies throughout your, like from when you started till this day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, when you started, why did you start? Was it just something you just wanted to? Just, oh yeah, I did a marketing degree or whatever you did, right? I took a course at Ottawa U and yeah, it seemed right, so I did it. Or is it like, was there something behind that kind of pushed you in that direction? And then throughout the process, it was funny because you just mentioned that like you miss that human touch of going to coffees with people and XYZ. And that's something that I remember you used to do years ago. You'd always be booked out with coffee dates, right? Oh, all the time. Dates, meetings, whatever. You'd always be booked out with them. And it was like, it was good to see. And every time you just give people value or whatever. And I remember me and you went for some coffee meetings and it was always just like the best conversations. Yeah. And so refreshing.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're bringing them back, and there's a reason you're bringing them back because you love helping people. You love giving something to people. And just doing some deep work in yourself and rooting it back to like when you started. Yeah. And like kind of before that, why you took your marketing course and et cetera. It's like thinking way back to 5+ years ago. Yeah. And just asking yourself the question, why? Like, why did I start this? Mm-hmm. What attracted me to that? What was the big, like, was it just a business or was it more than that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when I hear your mission statement, if that was my mission statement, I know myself, I would need more in the sense of like to help people make change. To me, for me personally, when I hear that, I'm like, no, like that's too like broad. Like that could literally be anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like I would naturally then have to like be like, it has to be like clearer. I would search for more clarity within it. So I'm curious, like for you, how do you see that statement? Like, do you not need more clarity?
No.
How does it, like, please tell me.
I need more clarity.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's funny because I mentioned like it could be through a conversation, it could be through a piece of content, it could be through XYZ. Something that fuels me like no tomorrow. I don't know why. I went to a Burna Boy concert maybe a month ago. Listen, but it's gonna tie back in, all right? I went to a Burna Boy concert and I'm looking at him. Yeah. I'm just like, that impact that you're making on all these people who are coming here to watch you on stage must be an incredible feeling. I went to a hockey game for the first time in ages, a couple weeks ago. I'm looking at these young players, like these guys are 18, 19, 20. I'm at the front and I'm just like, it must be so cool that all these people are coming here to watch you. But it's not that. It's you found a purpose in playing hockey or basketball or whatever sport. Yeah. But like I'm watching these. I took someone to this game. Yeah. So I have zero interest in hockey. Yeah. But I'm watching these kids. I took a little kid to the game, you know? And these guys are so like, this is their inspiration. Yeah. I mean, they're making change. And I'm just like, I'm looking at all of this and I'm like, a part of me just gets fueled to know that one day I know whether I'm going to be speaking or doing something in front of a big crowd. And this is going to be cool because we're recording this. But I will speak in front of some sort of large crowd, whether it's speak, whether it's do change, whatever it is. But that fuels me. And so it's like, finding your question was like, hey, you need more clarity. I do need more clarity because it's like right now it's through health and fitness. It's creating some sort of change. It could be through a piece of content, it could be through a conversation. But I'm still figuring that out.
Okay. I'm
still figuring it out. And I brought in all those examples because those are things that recently have been like, whoa. It's been a light bulb in my head. You know what I mean? But I haven't figured it out. I know no more than what I just shared.
This was your last day on earth. And this was the piece of content you got to make for the world. Well, I have to do a question since you stole my last question. This was your last day on earth. And you had the opportunity to speak to the world in one video. What would be kind of the statement that summarizes it all for you? What would you tell the people?
You ask questions that are sometimes so tough to answer.
Is that what you'd say?
No, that's not what I'd say. No matter what you do in life, whatever you're chasing towards, whatever's your driving factor, whatever you're working towards, I truly believe you have to find true happiness in every single thing you do in order to create real success in your life. There are the happiest people in the world who could be living on the streets. But because they have food, water, and maybe family, that's all they need. There could be other people who are the wealthiest people and could be absolutely miserable. You would think they have everything on the outside. So I think my last statement, God forbid that was the last day, it'd be no matter what you do in life and every step that you take, just make sure it comes truly within and you're happy with every single thing that you're doing. And every step of the way, you find some sort of happiness for you.
Oh,
Amen.
Thank you.
All love.